Hello, this is Caroline, and this is my final presentation for our Shakespeare class. I was inspired by one of the first articles that we had to read for class, which was Richard Burt's Unspeakable Shakespeares, because he went on and on and on and on about how these teen film adaptations were dumbing Shakespeare down and causing some of the plays to lose their meaning. So it got me thinking, all right, so how do we make the language of Shakespeare's original plays more accessible and make it where high school students can comprehend it? Because I feel like high school students see Shakespeare's language and they act like these cats in this comic that I shared on the Cheshire at the beginning of the semester. But I really do feel like high school students look at Shakespeare's language and are like, what is happening here? This is a totally different language. So my problem was essentially, how do we keep the original language and still make it accessible to high school students? One of the first things that I found during my research was how Shakespeare was taught in an English language learner class in Taiwan. So what they did in this class was they used acting exercises created by the Royal Shakespeare Company to help them comprehend Shakespeare better. One of the reasons that they say this works is that usually when you are learning a foreign language, whether it's English or anything else, is that you learn the polite things to say in the language, like how to make a telephone call, how to ask where the bathroom is, things like that. You don't learn emotional language. So in this classroom in Taiwan, they use these acting exercises to help them understand the language of English that we speak today better, as in addition to Shakespeare. So one of the first exercises that they do is whispering the lines and yelling the lines. And so I thought, well, why don't we try that with Hamlet? What an ass am I? Hey, what an ass am I? One way you have Hamlet being angsty, and in the other way you have Hamlet speaking in a more regrettable tone. Either way, both of the ways that I demonstrated show that Hamlet is suffering from some serious self-loathing. Another activity or acting exercise that the ESL classroom tried was having the students build an altar of random objects while they read Lady Macbeth's Unsex Me speech. The raven himself is force, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duckin under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend to mortal thoughts, unsex me here, that tend and fill me with the crown to the top, full of direst cruelty, make thick my blood. Two of the examples that the ESL classroom used to help Shakespeare be understanding. So, did it work? Well, the students said that once they performed the different activities, that gesturing really makes the words come alive. It's pretty hard to describe, so all that I can say is that it gives substance to words that have meanings that are hard to understand. So there you go. That's how that works, because you're giving action, you're connecting action to the words. Another thing that this makes me think of is I'm also in a Film is Lit class on comedy, and we talk a lot about in that class how humor exists in this space between having a body and being a body. And so Shakespeare, when you pull it into action, you go from Shakespeare being out here in this literary ether to owning it, to it becoming yours, to escape, as Barry says in her explanation of these exercises, to escape the tyranny of the mind. Along that same vein of escaping the tyranny of the mind is that Shakespeare's language has also been shown to help students with emotional regulation. That we don't really give children the option of practicing anger, that they have no way to really learn how to express it in a healthy way. Same with sadness, any kind of negative emotion. And so Shakespeare works in a way that helps students express those difficult emotions in a healthy way. Now, what's also interesting about this is that some of the standards that they go over in secondary education is making sure that when you're teaching that it's appropriate with the development stage that the children are at. And this is one of the ways using Shakespeare to help them emotionally regulate is one of the ways to help them develop socially and emotionally and even cognitively. Another thing too, when you're connecting action with words, you're also differentiating your instruction, because instead of just satisfying those who might be visual learners or those who might learn better from reading the text, now you're helping learners that can't sit still, that need to be moving about the classroom to totally understand. So these are just some of the ways that teachers can incorporate Shakespeare into the classroom in a way that high school students can understand. It's basically all about bringing the action together with the words. So that is my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.